It's truly been a eventful weekend for pro wrestling news, and today is actually going to be a little bit different because normally I'm talking to you guys about WWE, but of course here on the Slam, the goal is to talk about all professional wrestling, and of course today's news is actually really good. If you are a Impact Wrestling fan, then yeah, like I said, this news is actually really good for all fans, but listen, TNA has had some negative news in so many recent years, and this one could be a big blow for Impact. And that's okay because Impact has new leadership, new management. We're going to see how they take this and what they do with it. But for those who didn't see the online reports, the tweets, and all that stuff from Ethan Carter, I would call this normally a spoiler, but in this situation, it's really not a spoiler, because it's like public knowledge. Impact is kind of tweeting about it. Everybody's kind of tweeting about it and talking about it. But Ethan Carter III is leaving TNA. He is leaving Impact Wrestling, and all signs point to a WWE return. And we'll kind of talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, EC3 at the upcoming television taping, or actually the current TV taping that's going to air in a couple weeks, basically led to Ethan Carter's departure. EC3, formerly known as Derrick Bateman, competed in the Feast or Fired match, and it was a really interesting take because, well, Ethan Carter III was fired. He picked up the briefcase with the pink slip that lets him know that his services are no longer needed for Impact Wrestling. And it's really crazy. When you think about the kind of change that he brought to Impact Wrestling, he was pretty much the biggest star there. And it almost seems like a huge win for TNA, bringing in Derrick Bateman from WWE, turning him into Dixie Carter's nephew, who would then become, world champion material. And that gives a lot of people hope for his WWE run that he will have. But Feast or Fired, man, I got to give TNA props. Impact Wrestling having this match gimmick where you don't know what's going to be in those briefcases. It's going to be pretty big, especially for Ethan Carter. I really can't wait to see how this comes off on TV. But yeah, he was fired from Impact Wrestling, and then of course we're talking kayfabe. But like I said, this is the biggest star for TNA in the last 3 or 4 years, and a lot of people saw when EC3 made that huge transformation from Derrick Bateman to Ethan Carter. They realized that there was star potential, and it's everything that Vince McMahon loves about a superstar: the body build, the looks, the microphone skills, can do some comedy. It's one of those things where I'm almost scared to see him go in WWE, realistically. I do have a little bit of fear of that. And the reason why is because WWE has a really deep roster right now. And of course, everybody wants to see Finn win the title. People want to see Samoa Joe win the title. And these are things that it's constantly an issue for a lot of people, right? Like it kind of upsets them that their favorite superstars aren't the world champions. And I can understand that. I can see why it's such a big deal. I get it. Most importantly, though, I just have to be honest, and I have to make it very clear that with EC3 leaving TNA, I think he has a really big potential going into WWE. And like I said, it's just kind of scary. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what position he's going to take, if he's going to the main roster or developmental. Obviously, WWE needs a new star on SmackDown. I think that's obviously very clear. And, there's another person that we're going to talk about that, we already know is going to WWE. It's already been confirmed. Obviously, that's Rockstar Spud. He kind of weighed in with all this the discussion portion of Twitter. And, I think it just gets to the point where I think Ethan Carter and Rockstar Spud could eventually, work with each other in WWE. I know the big rumor so far has been that the big rumor has been that Rockstar Spud would be headed to 205 Live, and I could see that. I could see where that works and where that fits in. But obviously with EC3 coming to WWE, it wouldn't be a bad idea to position them together. I think it can work in a big way, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. In addition to that, EC3 going to WWE, I feel like it's almost like a Drew McIntyre thing, right? Like Drew McIntyre left WWE, became Drew Galloway, and became a very big star in the Indies, went to TNA, had a big run. And of course, he learned how to mature and learn the business and really understand some of the downfall of pro wrestling. He didn't have everything handed to him. He had to work for it. I think EC3 is kind of in the same position. Obviously, we can only talk about what we've seen on screen, but Derrick Bateman was immature. He definitely, he didn't look the way he did when he became EC3. He had to really change and really progress and really learn how to become more than just a funny comedy character. And I think that's where WWE is going to win with EC3. And of course, whether he becomes Derrick Bateman again, I really don't know. I really don't hope so. I really think Ethan Carter is a great name. Obviously, WWE can capitalize on the name. Now, people who are smart enough to know the meaning of the name, people know that he was the nephew of Dixie Carter in kayfabe. And that's cool because, honestly, there's somebody who's never debuted in WWE, and that is Dixie Carter. So, I hate to say this, but I feel like it could work out in a big way. Rockstar Spud, Dixie Carter, Ethan Carter the third. I think you can do a storyline there. And I think it allows Rockstar Spud to still do 205 Live, but it still allows him to be part of some big storylines. Who knows? I think it's hard because with WWE's programming, there's so much television, there's so much content. You want to get them everywhere. You want to see them, and that's where things could be somewhat hard. But I'm excited to see what happens, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I really am. This is a big moment for EC3, and we're gonna finally get to see him become something big, and I think that's the most important thing. Again, his character before, goofy, comedic, wasn't that great, and it sucks because you see how great he's become. And obviously, WWE didn't have anything to do with that. But it's big news. It's really big news. And honestly, I'm really excited to see what Impact is going to do without him. And, they got a lot of credit for building him up. They got a lot of credit for making him into a star. We've seen him work with Tyrus, who was Brodus Clay. I think they are really losing a top guy. Impact's loss is WWE's gain, and it makes me excited. It makes me excited to see what WWE is going to do here, because this is the first time that WWE could be bringing on a TNA character that TNA created, not a superstar. TNA created Ethan Carter, okay? Just like Dixie Carter, right? Like, they created that. This would be the first time WWE took something from TNA that I can firmly remember. It's different when you take roster members, right? AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. But when you take their gimmick, people cannot say Broken Matt Hardy was TNA's thing. TNA did not create that. That was Matt Hardy's gimmick. Matt Hardy created that. So I don't want to see any comments of people telling me, oh, EC3 made EC3. No, TNA created EC3. And this is the first time I can recall where WWE could potentially be taking TNA's creation. Yeah, they can slap the old, Derrick Bateman name. They can do that. But I don't know. Who knows with WWE? It's 2018. Things have changed in pro wrestling. They really have. In my mind, I think the best thing to do right now is to have Derrick Bateman return. If you don't want any relations to the TNA brand, the Impact Wrestling brand, get rid of the first name. WWE hates first names. We all know this. We all know they hate first names. They took it away from Cesaro and from Rusev, and they're very picky with names. We've seen the changes from Big E Langston to Big E, to Antonio Cesaro to Cesaro. Things have changed significantly. So if you're WWE and you don't want to bring in the EC3 name, that's completely fine with me. Just call him Bateman. It sticks. It's catchy. It works. People know who he is. And if WWE just wants to call him Ethan Carter, that's fine. If they want to call him Carter, that's fine. If they want to call him Ethan, there's so many things you can do, but I really want to see what they will do. So he's been fired from Impact Wrestling, and he is on his way to WWE, and I need to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Episode 30 of The Slam is brought to you by Rode Microphones, and I am your host, Ango. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Tango with Ango, and I'll see you guys for the next episode.